Yo, what is going on, everybody? Stetsma here once again. Sorry about the 2-day hiatus. I was kind of sick for a couple days, but I'm feeling a little bit better now, so I'm going to be able to record. Today, I just want to do a short little video on my top 10 favorite characters in RWBY. I didn't know what else to do for my comeback. Yeah, so here I am. Let's just get straight into this. Alright, so starting off our list, coming in at number 10 is Roman Torchwick. The really cool mafia boss that really just... he hits home for me. He's a really cool character, and I just really love him. I don't know what else there is to say. He's really good at combat. He's really funny, super charismatic. I just love him overall, and his interactions with Neopolitan are just so cool. He's just one of the best characters overall in the entire show through volumes 1 through 3, and I just loved his characterization and just the way they went about him in general. He was just such a cool character, and I wish they would bring him back or do something with his character in the future volumes, and I actually think that they will eventually, but as of right now, I just really enjoyed his character back in volume 1 through 3, and he was just really, really cool, and I want to see him back in the story. He was one of my favorite characters. He was just a super funny, super charismatic leader that you really wanted to see more of him when he was on screen, because he didn't get as much screen time as people wanted him to. And he still got a massive amount of screen time. That's crazy. He was supposed to die in volume 1, and they stretched him all the way out to volume 3 just because the fans loved him so much. So yeah, I really love Roman Torchwick. That's about it. Moving on to number 9. One of my favorite characters in this show, obviously, since he's on this list, Sun Wukong. Honestly, Mr. Wukong, as some people call him, is such an amazing character, and he really showed the type of person he was when he went out of his way, left his boys, which I still think was a terrible thing, left his boys to go help Blake Belladonna in Menagerie, because he believed that that's where he was needed. He believed his boys didn't really need him all that much. And after reading After the Fall and Before the Dawn, I believe it's called, which I just read here in the last week or so, Sun's characterization, while he wasn't in After the Fall too much except for at the very end, Sun's characterization in that, it really showed that he had grown from what had happened, and he slowly started to understand what he had really done to his team and why they were so mad at him. And seeing him apologize and seeing him being able to own up to his actions was just something that I really love to see. And I would really love to see more characterization for him in Volume 9 and the upcoming volumes, just because he's such a good character. And yes, I say Black Sun over Bumblebee. Blake and Sun have so much more characterization and development for their relationship. I would much rather that happen. Just saying. Alright, coming in at number 8, a character I don't really have much to say about, just because there's not much about him that we know. Fox Alistair. Honestly, his background, super cool. I'm not going to go into it. If you want to find out about it, read After the Fall and Before the Dawn. Those are such good books. But anyways, Fox Alistair was just one of the coolest characters. The fact that he was able to become such an advanced huntsman, one of the best at Beacon Academy, and one of the best at Shade Academy once Beacon fell, it was just telling that, because he was blind, he was such a cool character, and the way he fought was just super cool. You just loved to see him on screen whenever he was fighting, doing anything actually, and I just really like Fox Alistair and his characterization, especially during After the Fall and Before the Dawn, which I highly suggest you guys check that out if you guys haven't, because they are really, really good books, and they characterize Team Coffee and Team Sun so much better than what they were characterized as before the books came out. And I honestly fell in love with some of the characters from both of the teams, and I just really love them, and there's plenty of them on my top 10 list. But Fox Alistair comes in at number 8 just because he's super cool, blind, one of the best huntsmen. Even through adversity, he's able to be what he can and be the best huntsman that he can. Alright, so coming in at number 7, Fox Alistair's teammate, Coco Adele. Now, this might surprise a few people because I did have Coco a little bit higher when I did the ranking the main cast of RWBY, but after reading the Before the Dawn and After the Fall books, one of the other characters in those books did pass her up, and she's just kind of dropped because I love Coco Adele as a character, but she kind of came off on me as kind of like a bad leader because she didn't take into account everybody else in the group sometimes. And I don't know, I really love Coco Adele. She's one of my favorite characters in the show, obviously, considering she's on this list. But she just has some issues to work through, and I would love to see that happen in the actual show instead of another book. I would honestly love to see them in Volume 9, 10, and on, but I feel like if they get introduced, some of them or all of them are going to get killed, so let's just not dive into that. Coco Adele has the personality that I love. She's such a cool, charismatic character, and she also rules out of fear, but also commands respect at the same time, and she's such a cool character just because I can't really explain it. She's just super cool. She's like that character that doesn't try to be cool, that just is cool, kind of like Sun Wukong. And you just have to love Coco Adele for her attitude in everything that she does. She's just a super cool character. Coming in at number 6, this one's going to surprise some people, considering she's not a main character. And I don't have much to say about why I like her. That would be Dewgale. Honestly, Dewgale, I have no idea why I like her besides her design. Her design in Volume 3 was exquisite. I loved it. Just seeing her whip up sand tornadoes, just her overall design was so cool. And I don't have a reason for ranking her this high. She's just always stuck in my mind as one of the characters that I really liked in Volume 3, and a character that I really want to see return. And I was actually really sad when she wasn't mentioned a whole lot in After the Fall and Before the Dawn, because she was mentioned like 2 or 3 times at most. It was kind of sad because I really liked her character and I really wanted to get some development in those books, and sadly we just didn't get it. Hopefully she'll be able to return to the story in Volume 9 and Volume 10. Honestly, I wouldn't even care if they killed her off, just because I want to see more of her, see what she's capable of. I want to see Dewgale in battle again. I want to see what she can do. And I would honestly love to see what happens with Dewgale. Coming in at number 5. This shouldn't surprise anyone that he's this high, but it might surprise people that he's this low, I guess. Bronwyn. I made an entire video specifically on his semblance and like what I personally think of him. Crow, an amazing character. His character development throughout the story is just so good. The worst part about him being the switch of voice actors halfway through the show. But that's not something that the character had a fault in, so I didn't even notice. Honestly, I didn't know until I was watching some other YouTubers and they told me, like, in their videos. Honestly, the other RWBY YouTubers are probably better than me. Let's not get into that, though. Bronwyn is just such a cool character because he's got a way with words to make him seem just like an asshole whenever he talks. And he's just so cool. He is quite literally the embodiment of cool. When you think of cool, you think Coco Adele, Bronwyn. And even RWBY Chibi knows this with their little skit that they had between the two. And honestly, Bronwyn, just such a cool character. The way he fights, he's such a badass, and I honestly just love Bronwyn. There's nothing else I can say. I just love Bronwyn. Now, coming in at number 4 is one of my favorite characters in the entire show, and debatably my favorite character in the main cast-ish, besides my number 1 character, but we'll get to him later. Nora Valkyrie. I love Nora. She is super energetic, hit stuff with Hammer Girl, and she's such a cool character. Even though that was her entire character for a while, she realized that. She knew that's the kind of person she was. She realized that she didn't know who she was without Ren. And because of that, she was able to grow as a character immensely on me. Honestly, I don't know if she would have made my top 10 before this latest volume and her conversation with Ren. It just characterized her so much more than what she had been in the past and made her look like a much better character. She turned from always simping over Ren, always trying to get with Ren, to I need to know who I am first. I love you still, but I need to know who I am before I can get into a relationship. And that was honestly such a bittersweet moment because everybody ships Renora. I think everybody knows that. But seeing that be turned down in Volume 8 because Nora didn't know who she was just such a bittersweet moment because you love to see Nora getting characterization, but you also want to see them get together because they're so much better together than what they are apart. But if they can become really good apart, you'd love to see that too. And I just really love Nora and the characterization she was given in Volume 8. So before we hit the top 3, I'm going to go ahead and give you my honorable mentions. I'm not going to dive too much into their character. I'm just going to tell you who they are, give a couple sentences, and then move on. So coming in at number 15 as my least favorite character on this list, but still a character I really like, Octavia Ember. She's really cool. I love her semblance, and just the way she treated Velvet in the books was just so nice. And I actually really appreciated that, and I really love to see that. Coming in at 14 was Tyrion Kalos. Tyrion is just so maniacal, and I love his character. And I would love to see him and Jon fight just because that would be such a cool fight. Coming in at number 13 is Ruby Rose. Now, Ruby is the only character from Team Ruby that would make this list, even though she didn't make the actual top 10. If she had more characterization, I guarantee you she would have beaten out Roman, probably Sun, Fox, Coco, and Dew. But she doesn't have the characterization that most of those other characters have, besides Dew. And I would love to see her get more characterization in this upcoming volume and be able to love her even more than I already do. Coming in at number 12 is Mercury Black. He's just a badass assassin that you really just come to love. His hard-ass attitude is just something that I love, and I love to see the dynamic between him and Emerald because you can see that while he doesn't say it, he truly does care about Emerald, and he knows that Cinder does not. He would love to help Emerald out and get her away from Salem because he knows that's not a life for her, but he believes it is a life for him. And you can see that in their conversations. You can see that in how they interact with each other. And it's just such a cool bond between the two that you just love to see it. Now, coming in at number 11 is Yatsuhashi Daichi. One of my favorite characters in the show, obviously, since he's, again, on this list. But the dynamic between him and Velvet, him being there to protect her always and her always being there to protect him as well, is just such a cool, awesome dynamic. And I know everybody ships Coco and Velvet. I personally ship Velvet and Yatsu because I think that is a much better pairing than Coco and Velvet. Although I do love Coco and Velvet as a pairing as well. Now, kicking off our top 3, somebody I literally talked about seconds ago, Velvet Scarlettina. I can't explain why I love her as much as I do. Besides, her design is super cool. The way she's portrayed is someone that's weak, that nobody believes in, and then turns out to be an absolute badass, just kicking around enemies, and honestly being a one-man army, as Coco put it. She was just such a cool character, and I loved to see Velvet be the character I always wanted to see in her, in the books. Volume 1 through 3, I don't remember exactly which volume she was introduced in. She just kind of seemed like the weak link until she fought the Atwesian Paladin. And when she did fight the Atwesian Paladin, she kicked 2 of their asses, but then got punched. I don't remember exactly what happened in that fight, but she was a total badass in those fights, and she proved that she wasn't useless like everybody thought she was. And seeing her in the books as a one-man army was just such a cool feeling. She saved Coco from the blind worm. Is that what they're called? I don't remember. But she was just such a cool character in the books. Such a cool character throughout her introduction all the way through Volume 3. And I just really loved to see her get more characterization in the books. And I would love to see her return in Volume 9. Coming in at number 2, somebody everybody should have seen coming because I just made a video about her, Neopolitan. Honestly, Neopolitan is such a badass. She's super cute, a sociopath, everything you would love in a villain. She knows exactly what she wants. When she attacked Cinder, she wanted to get revenge for Roman. When Cinder overpowered her with using the maiden powers, she knew she wasn't going to win. I don't believe that she willingly helped out Cinder. It was more out of respect for her because she commanded respect by using her maiden powers. And Her going up against Cinder signified that Roman was really important to her, and I really loved the dynamic between the two. Watching Roman die in Volume 3 and wondering when Neo was going to return was something I had always wondered until it actually happened, and I really loved to see Neo return, as she's always been one of my favorite characters. I can't really explain that one either. Her design is super cool. I really love it. But like besides that, I can't really explain it because she doesn't even talk. And she hasn't had much characterization besides she loved Torchwick and she really wants to get revenge for him. There's not really an explanation as to why she does what she does, and I'm really hoping we get an explanation and a backstory for her in Volume 9 or Volume 10, whenever. I just really want to get more characterization from Neo because she's already a great character. She could be so much better. And the moment you've all been waiting for. Number 1, Lai Ren. Honestly, the characterization of Lai Ren has got to be the most in the entire story throughout the entirety of RWBY. He has been characterized the most because he's able to go from this calm, clear-headed person to, hey, we're not ready for this. We need to come back, see what we're doing. We don't understand what we're getting ourselves into. And seeing Ren like that, he was kind of like the voice of the audience. Because many people in the audience were like, yeah, what are they doing? They're in over their heads. They don't know what they're doing. They're inexperienced. And seeing Ren and knowing that he is right, it just solidified him as my favorite character. Knowing that he was able to put all of his issues into a solid argument and say, hey, we're not ready for this. We don't know what's going on. Like, we do, but we're not ready for it. And even though we do know somewhat what's going on, we don't know the full story because we don't know if Ozpin lied to us fully. And we don't know if Jin told us the full truth. And while he doesn't say that explicitly, you can tell that that's kind of what he's saying. Is he knows that they don't know exactly what's going on. And honestly, I just really love Lai Ren's character. He's such a cool character. His fighting style is badass. I want to see more of him. But I also don't, because he's not one of the main characters. And I want more characterization for Team RWBY. And I would just love to see Ren and Nora get together eventually. And I love the dynamic between those two. Him finally coming to terms with his feelings and her needing to find herself before she can accept his feelings. And it's just something I really loved. And yeah, they're both top 4 characters. So just having them both there in a relationship would be so awesome. But anyways, that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, hit that big red subscribe button. I just hit 25 subs, so thank you everybody for the support. Thank you for subbing. I really appreciate all of the support I've been getting. Although it's not much compared to other YouTubers, I love it. I don't do this for the subs, I don't do this for the likes. I do this because I want to make an impact in people's lives eventually. And I really appreciate the support that I've been getting on my YouTube videos so that I'm able to do that in the future eventually. And I really appreciate everybody that watches this video. And so thank you. And I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.